paired with a defensive-minded head coach with DeMeco Ryans. What's the upside for Will Anderson?
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I think every evaluation that we've seen of Will Anderson as a Houston Texan, it's hard to find one that doesn't include the name DeMeco Ryans in that evaluation. And I think any of these defensive players that the Texans already have on the roster or drafted onto the roster, whether it's Will Anderson or Dylan Horton, the fourth-round pick out of TCU, or Henry To'oTo'o, the inside linebacker who's basically plays the same position DeMeco Ryans played at Alabama and in Houston. DeMeco almost applies like a 20 to 25% uptick for what our expectations are for those guys because he's such a good coach. He was such a good linebackers coach in San Fran, such a good DC, such a smart guy. So I think Will Anderson's been put in the best possible situation to thrive as the third overall pick. I think he can be really, really good. You know, I think he's the clear-cut favorite for Defensive Rookie of the Year right now. I think that's probably more based on reputation and the situation he's in than it is on actuality, obviously.
Yeah.
As far as the things he needs to work on, you know, I'm no expert when it comes to breaking down film, but my co-host, Seth Payne, on 610 here in Houston, played defensive line in the NFL for 10 years. He played defensive tackle.
Yeah.
He played 5 years for Jacksonville and 5 years for the Texans. And the one thing he said that Will Anderson needs to figure out and get coached on is how to better use his hands, how to use that arm length that he has to his advantage. A lot of times tackles that are more powerful than him in the SEC, Darnell Wright comes to mind at Tennessee, first-round pick.
Yeah.
He got swallowed up by those guys a lot of times because Will Anderson was just sheerly relying on his athleticism and his physical traits to beat guys in college that were basically boys against men, with him being the man. So the good news about Will Anderson is he's extremely coachable. He knows what it is he needs to do to become a better NFL football player. So I anticipate that maybe I haven't looked at the matchups yet to that extent, like what left tackles is he going to be going against, or right tackles, wherever they decide to line him up. They're going to line him up as a 9 technique on the outside with his hand in the dirt. That'll be different than how he was used in Alabama, where he was really more in a 2-point stance than a 3-point stance. So there'll be a learning curve for Will Anderson for sure, but he's got incredible tools, and he's obviously got an incredible attitude as well. So to me, I'm really excited to see him play. If he gets off to a slow start, or it looks like he's kind of still learning some things, that's not going to alarm me because I think he'll get up to speed pretty quickly after that.
And one of the bigger storylines of the camp, because, there's not actual gameplay, it's not 7v7, it's more just, getting the rookies kind of in their shoes and getting them starting to run and all that stuff. One of the bigger storylines was that he's actually going to be switching from a linebacker where he played at Alabama to an edge defender. Why is this position change necessary, do you think?
Well, I mean, it's the defense DeMeco Ryans wants to run. I think they want to get him in a spot where he's putting his head down and getting after the quarterback, holding the edge on the run, where he's not backpedaling and having to do stuff in space a lot. You want to take advantage. You want to put guys in the best position to take advantage of what their physical traits are. Will Anderson's physical traits are more straight ahead, power, speed, getting into the backfield and being disruptive than it is being somebody who's playing in space. So I think that's it. I think a lot of times in the NFL, though, nowadays, Michael, we get too caught up in 4-3 and 3-4 defenses and hand in the dirt, hand not in the dirt. It's really, NFL defenses are becoming a lot like NBA teams, where it's not so much positional. It's about getting 5 really good players on the floor and then just going to work with what suits your team. And I think defenses are a lot like that, too. When people say, they play a 4-3 and their starting lineup is this. Like, it's not about a starting lineup. It's about situational football, and you're playing in sub packages like 75% of the time. So I think they're going to do whatever it is that Will Anderson gets set up to perform the best at.